This is the seventh gate of Kammasaka Zen, known as emptiness and the physical. This is the last talk in this gate, number 7, and it's the interconnection of the seventh gate, known as emptiness and the physical, the seventh ox-herding picture, the ox forgotten, the self alone, the interconnection with the koan, Shoshu's wash your bowl, the fifth step on the eightfold path, right living, the third perfection, the perfection of patience, and the second precept of the Buddha, to abstain from the taking of what is not ours and not given, and how all these teachings interconnect. Zen practice often leads to profound realization that the physical and the empty are not separate realms, but they are simply interwoven aspects of the same reality. The seventh gate of Kammasaka, it embodies this union. It invites us as practitioners to explore the disillusion of perceived boundaries between form and void. In Zen, the word emptiness, shunyata, is not a negation, but a liberation, a realization that all things are devoid of inherent existence, and thus they are interconnected in a seamless web of causes and conditions. It's at this stage that the practitioner moves beyond the realm of dualistic thinking to simply embrace the interconnected nature of all phenomena. And the physical is often seen as a barrier to spiritual understanding. But now it becomes a conduit. It becomes a conduit in the seventh gate. And it's through the body that we experience the world, and through mindful awareness of the body that we encounter the truth of emptiness. Look, practices such as walking meditation, mindful breathing, these ground the practitioner in the physical, while simultaneously dissolving the illusion of separateness. So the seventh gate, it teaches that the physical is not an obstacle, but rather it's a gateway to enlightened awareness. The seventh image in the ox-herding series, it depicts a profound shift in the practitioner's journey. So the ox that represents the mind, or the ultimate truth, it is forgotten, leaving the self alone. This stage symbolizes the transcendence of dualistic concepts, such as seeker and sought, or self and other. When the ox is forgotten, the practitioner no longer clings to ideas of enlightenment or liberation. There is only a profound acceptance of things as they are. And this image parallels the realization of emptiness discussed in the seventh gate. So to forget the ox is to release attachment to the notion of attainment. It's not a loss, but a freedom, a return to the ordinary that is extraordinary. It is extraordinary in its simplicity. So the self alone, it is not the egoic self, but the true self, which we call no self, anatta. A realization that boundaries are placed around identity, they are illusionary. And the practitioner, having integrated the lessons of the ox, moves freely through the world, embodying wisdom and compassion, and doing so without self-consciousness. Now, koans. Koans are a cornerstone of Zen practice, and they're designed to shatter conventional thinking and open the practitioner to direct insight. Joshua's koan, known as Wash Your Bowl, encapsulates the essence of Zen, of the simplicity and the immediacy of it. The story recounts a monk asking Joshua, "What should I do after finishing his meal?" And Joshua's response was simply, "Wash your bowls." And this directs the monk to return to the present moment and to engage fully with the task at hand. This particular koan resonates deeply with the themes of the seventh gate and the seventh ox-herding picture, because washing the bowl is a physical act, and yet is also a practice of emptiness. So in Zen, even the most mundane tasks, they're simply opportunities for awakening. The koan teaches that enlightenment is not found in extraordinary experiences, but it's found in the ordinary. And it's lived fully, by living fully and mindfully. So by washing the bowl, the practitioner embodies the principles of emptiness, realizing that no act is separate from the whole. And then in the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is the framework for ethical and spiritual growth in Buddhism. It culminates in right living. Now, this step emphasizes living in harmony with the Dharma and contributing positively to the world. So, right living is not merely about choosing an ethical profession. It is about embodying integrity, embodying compassion and mindfulness in all aspects of our lives. So in the context of the seventh gate, right living bridges the understanding of emptiness with the physical reality of daily existence. When one sees the interconnectedness of life, ethical living becomes a natural expression of this insight. A person grounded in right living refrains from harm and fosters conditions for well-being of others. It is a dynamic expression of the truth of our actions, and it reverberates through this web of existence. The integration of right living aligns with the seventh ox-herding picture. Its depiction of simplicity and ordinariness. So right living is not separate from the act of washing the bowl or forgetting the ox. It is in these small, deliberate actions that the practitioner has the understanding of the path that manifests in tangible, compassionate engagement with the world. Patience, the practice of patience, Kasanti, the third perfection of the six perfections, or paramitas as they're called. It is a vital quality in the practitioner's journey. It is more than endurance. It is an active, compassionate acceptance of the present moment. Now, patience, it arises from the deep understanding of emptiness and interconnection, recognizing that all phenomena are transient and conditioned. So the practitioner cultivates equanimity in the face of difficulty. The perfection of patience harmonizes with the themes of the seventh gate and the seventh ox-herding picture. Patience is necessary to sit with the paradoxes of Zen practice, to engage in physical practice while realizing emptiness, to wash your bowl while grasping its significance. It's also essential. It's also essential to right living. As ethical conduct, it often requires restraint and the ability to hold space for others. And patience is particularly relevant to the koan, wash your bowl. The act of washing the bowl requires care, presence. And these are qualities that are born of patience. And through patience, the practitioner learns to see the sacred in the mundane, and come to understand that each moment, however challenging or just routine, is an opportunity to embody the Dharma. The second precept of the Buddha, to abstain from taking what is not ours or not given. It's one of the cornerstones of ethical living in Buddhism. It reflects an understanding of interconnection and respect for others' autonomy and well-being. This precept is not merely about refraining from theft. It extends to cultivating generosity and gratitude. And in the light of the seventh gate, the second precept, it takes on a deeper significance. Recognizing the emptiness of self and other dissolves the barriers that often lead to greed and possessiveness. When we see that we are not separate from others, then the desire to take begins to diminish, and it becomes replaced by a natural inclination to either share and give. And the precept also aligns with the koan, wash your bowl, as an embodiment of contentment and also of responsibility. So by tending to what is ours with care and not seeking more than we need, then we honour the interconnectedness of all things. So practice of this precept is a form of right living. It fosters a community where resources are shared and relationships are built on trust and respect. It's also an act of patience, as the abstaining from taking with what is not given often involves waiting, cultivating contentment, and practicing self-restraint. So by embodying this precept, the practitioner contributes to the harmony of the whole. So the seventh gate, the seventh ox-herding picture, Joshua's koan, the eighth step on the eightfold path, and the third perfection, and the second precept. They're not isolated. They're not isolated teachings. They interweave to form a tapestry of understanding and practice that leads the practitioner to a life of wisdom, compassion, and equanimity. So the seven gates exploration of unity of the physical and the emptiness, it's mirrored in the seventh ox-herding picture in its depiction of the self alone. So both teach that enlightenment is not found in escaping the world, but rather being fully inhabiting in it. And then Joshua's koan brings this lesson into a sharp focus, demonstrating that awakening is not separate from the simple act of washing the bowl. And then right living provides the ethical framework for manifesting these insights into our daily life, while the perfection of patience supports the practitioners in meeting these challenges with grace. And the second precept, it grounds the practice in respect and generosity, reinforcing the interconnected nature of all things and all beings. So, together, these teachings guide the practitioner towards a life that embodies the profound realization of interconnection. They remind us that the journey of Zen is not about achieving a distant goal, but it's about living fully in the present, with wisdom and compassion. So the physical and the empty, the mundane and the sacred, the self and the other, they are all simply threads in the seamless fabric of existence. This is the last Dharma talk in the seventh gate. I hope you've enjoyed this gate, and I hope you look forward to moving forward to the eighth gate. Thank you for listening.